Megaherzzz. You're listening to Megaherzzz on 4ZZZ.
You're listening to Megaherzzz with Sisi and Sarah. You're taking a bit of a trip to Iceland with us. We just heard, at the top of the set was Björk with Hyper Ballad. And we also had a song hit, which was one of Björk's first songs with her original band, the Sugar Cubes. And I think she was about 16 when she wrote that. And and she still looks 16 now. I look at her and go, didn't realise that how old she was back then and how old she is now. But
it's probably what happens when you're not in the melanoma causing.
Yeah. It's all about that ozone layer, isn't it? And yet another reason why you may want to move to Iceland.
Except for the darkness for 12 hours a day in the winter.
That's not so good. It's not so good. Darkness, but does that mean they get a whole lot of light as well at the other end?
I don't know. Oh, that's my geography. My Australian education system geography brain is coming out here. I don't know if it's actually as high up. I don't know where it is.
I would imagine again. Geography. If you ever take me to a quiz site or want to play Trivial Pursuit, geography is not my forte.
We shouldn't be on the same team.
No. But, look, music, especially 80s and 90s music knowledge. Count me in. I've got your back the whole way.
If there's a riot girl category,
right. We're there. But geography, not so much. But if they do have a long period of darkness, then that implies that at the other end there is a long period of light at the other end of the year. So,
and those long period of darkness countries have really cool heavy metal scenes. When I went to the airport in Norway, it's like it just feels like you're in a very Nordic normal airport, and then they have images flash up on the screen of heavy metal, really cool goths, and in the airport it's shocking. It's so cool.
I thought you were going to tell me that you went to a special gig at the Norwegian airport.
I did go to a special weird gig in a mouldy underground cave thing in Oslo, and it was freaking crazy. It was so wild, and I had no idea, but
I love it.
It did feel like that.
I love it. Well, let's have a chat about Iceland.
Yes,
and let's tell me what's happening with feminism in Iceland.
Well, I'll tell you what's happened a long time ago, and we'll work our way through. So I got a lot of this information from a site called the Borgen Project. Thank you. We can link that in if you want to do more research, but I'm pretty much going to read what they said here. So Iceland up to 2021, I couldn't find that exact same rating system for the last 4 years, but it was rated the most gender equal country for 12 years in a row up to 2021. So let's look at the history. In 1850, Iceland became the first country to grant equal inheritance to both men and women. Yeah,
that is huge.
1850. That's insane. Before that, it was 1/3 of the inheritance, which I assume is really good too. That's for that era. I would assume that most women would be getting 0%.
0%. And even the fact that they were able to have equal inheritance implies that women were in fact allowed to own things, which in many Western countries has not been the case for a very, very long time. So continue.
And then in 1917, that's many years later, women and men were granted equal rights over their children. So I think that's a very important one that is often glazed over in these kinds of conversations. Your right to your children is a incredibly incredibly important. Okay, on June 15th, 1915, women older than 40 gained the right to vote in national elections. Before this, men could vote from 25 years of age and women only at 40 years old. In 1920, Iceland removed the age barrier to voting eligibility for women completely. Then in 1922, Iceland elected Ingeborg Mason, as the first female member of the Icelandic parliament. So that over 40 years old law is so odd to me.
Yeah, is that women who previously they were only allowed to vote once they were over 40, or they were stopped being allowed to vote when they were 40? So
I guess it's interesting that women were, I guess that it was a wiseness thing that over 40 they knew more and had a more eligible point of view, but isn't that odd?
Like men when they're 25, I mean the argument that we always hear is the other way around. So interesting that they had that, and so that then they abolished that completely.
So everyone votes at the same time.
Can vote.
Yes. Okay. Random, but interesting. I thought it was worth including because it was only giving the older women a right to vote, which, yeah, interesting. In 1975, Icelandic women, tired of the lack of equal representation both in politics and labour force participation, birthed the Women's Day Off strike to protest and ignite social change, which was what we discussed earlier, 50 years on last year. About 25,000 women in the original one participated in the strike to protest gender discrimination. Gosh, the women's movement pushed the boundaries of leadership in Icelandic politics and paved the way for the world's first elected female leader. Vigdis Finnbogadóttir became the first female president of Iceland in 1980, serving 16 years. In 2009, these gender equality gains advanced further with the election of Johanna Sigurðardóttir as Iceland's first female prime minister. Now, Iceland's electoral system is based on proportional representation.
I'm just going to say, in Sisi's defence here, I can see these words on our screen here, and there are a lot of accents and umlauts and things like that. So,
but I think that I cut out about 8 words,
a few syllables there, but it's okay, and we can put these the actual names on our show notes as well. But I think you did a good job there.
If anyone knows how to pronounce the last name, Sigurardóttir with a few accents in
but
there. Let us know.
Even, the O's aren't even O's. They've got different accents on each of the O's. So, and if you know how to pronounce it, you can text us to us. But that probably won't do us a whole lot of good at this stage. So
you'll have to put some hyphens in there.
Yeah, you'll have to spell it to us phonetically.
Yes. Okay. Iceland passed a law in 2010 requiring company boards to have a minimum of 40% of women to men. The law came into effect on September 1st, 2013, and in 2021, women occupied about 42% of managerial roles and 40% of parliamentary positions in Iceland, which is proportionally to other countries fantastic. In 2018, Iceland enacts the Equal Pay for Equal Work law. The Equal Status and Equal Rights irrespective of gender act mandates equal pay and equal terms of employment for the same jobs or jobs of equal value. Equal pay means that pay shall be determined in the same manner for all persons regardless of gender. The equal pay law requires companies to prove the payment of employees at equal rates for equal work or pay a $380 fine per day. That was crazy to me as well.
So you might as well just pay people so you don't have to pay the fine every day.
I wonder if there's companies who would rather pay the fine than pay the women. Anyway.
I wonder if that's per instance, like per person that they're underpaying, or if that's just a flat fine. Because if that's just a flat thing and you've got thousands of employees, then it probably isn't that expensive. But if it's per person per day, you might as well just be paying people.
Wow. In January 2020, 21, Iceland extended the parental leave system to 12 months from 10 months. Parents can divide the leave period equally between themselves. Each parent has an entitlement to 6 months each and 80% of their income if they work full-time. In comparison, Australian paid leave is 120 days max, and that's like on the Centrelink website. So we all know that is like the absolute best that they can offer, and that's half of what Iceland gets, which is sad. And I don't think that men are entitled like any paid leave in Australia. Correct me if I'm wrong for that, but it's something very, very different. But 80% of your income full-time work is pretty good. Yeah, so that's what we have. Any thoughts?
So Iceland is leading the world as the most equal country. It sent me down a bit of a rabbit hole as well, looking at, because Iceland had the first female president as well, and so I was looking at when did we start having presidents or elected officials, and not only the first president, but the first elected official recorded in the world. So, and it turned out that the presidential system did actually start with America. So with the founding of America, I really thought that it would have been earlier than that. I was quite surprised, and have I know democracy is a Greek term, so there have been democratic systems certainly in Greek and Greece and Rome, but yeah. So as far as democratically elected officials go, though, it's actually a very recent thing, and Iceland are one of the countries leading the way.
Good on you, Iceland.
Welcome to AprilAtonement. Did you subscribe this time last year? If so, you're just in time to resubscribe. You know what we're about and what AprilAtonement is all about. It's about the sweet, unique, local, and ethically sourced community radio made with love. So head to 4zzz.org.au to resubscribe and keep this little community radio station jamming out for another year.
You've been doing some gigging, Sisi.
Yeah, we just had Ian chatting with us in the studio. He was also at this gig I went to on the weekend at the Brightside. It was Silo 26. It was very awesome. Like $25 to see 5 of Australia's very cool upcoming bands.
That's like $5 each.
I know, it was crazy. So special features: Sleepazoid, The Empty Threats, Delivery, and Gut Health, which is, for Zed listeners, like, you could hear all of those songs in a day on 4ZZZ.
You could, and you know what? You could pay $5 per band, or you could get a subscription to 4ZZZ for, and you know what? It's AprilAtonement, so you could win all sorts of prizes as well.
Yes.
So AprilAtonement is our month of April, where we forgive you for not subscribing thus far and welcome you into the fold of 4ZZZ listeners. Look, subscriptions start from under 18 subscription, only $25, and that's like 5 cents a song. That's not even $5 a band. That's like couldn't even describe how little cents per song that actually is. You can get a concession subscription for $40. What else have we got?
Well, my dog subscribed in AprilAtonement. Professor Snazzy is a pet, and he has got a $25 pet subscription. Subscribe your pets,
Professor Snazzy, and we totally forgive you, Professor Snazzy, for not subscribing up until now. But good on ya.
He's got very sensitive ears. He's very capable of listening. He can hear it from any part of the house.
That's true. You can probably hear us from here.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got, if you want to if you want to treat yourself and treat the station, you can get the Passionate subscription for $140.
I always like the Passionate subscription because it comes with the T-shirt.
Yeah,
and that's the only way to get the special limited edition T-shirts that they have each year. So you've got to be a Passionate subscriber to get one of those.
Hell yeah! And if you're a band or a solo artist, you can subscribe. A solo artist is $85 and a band is $160 for the lot of you. Business is $160 if you want to advertise what you got going on.
That includes a certain amount of sponsorship announcements, doesn't it? The business one.
Yeah, I think like a week or something. That's good. And a household is $300.
A household, but now see that'd be a great one to get about now because you get your household sign with that one, and wouldn't that be so much better than having all of these political signs that everybody's putting up? Wouldn't it be better to go vote one for Triple Z and have that out in the front of your house? That would be super awesome.
Speaking of live gigs, we were talking about some cool stuff coming up.
Yeah, there is some cool stuff coming up. One thing that if you already have tickets, that would be awesome. But BARKAA is playing at the Soul Bar in Maroochydore, but it's all sold out. I got a notification today saying, hey, you might like to see BARKAA in Maroochydore. And I was like, yes, I would like to see BARKAA in Maroochydore, but I'm too slow, so I will not be seeing BARKAA in Maroochydore. But not too late, though. Have to wait a bit of a while, but you may see BARKAA at the Black Day Out. So also with Thelma Plum, Christine Anu and Miss Kanina. And that one is on July 26th. So
what a lineup. That is so awesome. Yes,
you can go and see that. And there are still tickets available for that one. And unfortunately we have to issue a correction because we were misled by the internet that BARKAA's not playing at this upcoming Black Day Out, but was at a previous one, and we misunderstood the date. And sorry for getting your hopes up there. So Maroochydore completely sold out. And so that was your chance in Queensland. But in Sydney on June the 7th, you can actually catch BARKAA as part of the My Sis at Vivid Festival, which is presented by Bad Apples Music. So that one, and look, I'm looking at it on screen right now. That one is 2025, which is the year that we're currently living in. So apologies for that. But look, go see Black Day Out anyway. It's still worth going to see because you have Miss Karina, you have Thelma Plum and Christina Anu, and plus more. It says plus more, but the plus more is actually not BARKAA.
Yeah, you know what? Having BARKAA there would just be too good.
We just wouldn't be able to handle that.
Yeah. It would just
It's time for us to sign off now. But before we do, Sisi, you've got a special program, special edition coming up on Thursday. Tell us about that.
On Thursday, I've done a Talking Zeds with Sherele Moody, who we rely on every week for our information on the Femicide Watch. She's the founder of the Red Hearts Foundation and the Femicide Watch that we all use. So if you would like to tune into that, it's very insightful. We've got the whole Megaherzzz team have sent through some questions for her. So listen in. It's a very interesting chat about her and her incredibly difficult but incredibly empowering life.
And that one's Thursday at
10 to 12.
10 to 12 on Thursday. So have a listen to Sisi then. And it is goodbye from us at Megaherzzz.
Isn't that what feminism is about?